Alright guys, we are going to try to figure out what's wrong with the exmark. What's our guesses? We have
head gaskets,
which they had in stock, so that's what we're hoping it is. That's the only parts we have right now, so if it's not that, we're probably going to have to order. But what else do you think? The
could be rings.
Piston rings. Zach?
I say it's the piston rings.
Zach says piston rings. I think he might be right, but I'm hoping it's the head gasket. I really am. First thing we're going to do is we are going to check the compression on both sides of the engine. And at least then we'll be able to figure out which side to start on.
We pulled our spark plugs out. This is the right side, this is the left side. I think our right side's messed up. You can see it's still wet because it has wet oil on it. And this one is dry. So we're gonna do our compression test and see what happens.
So what's your, what do you think is gonna happen?
I think the right side's gonna have low compression and the left side's gonna have normal.
You're not losing compression on this one. If it was bad rings, it would start leaking down after a couple minutes or so, but it's not gonna leak down.
It's holding about 90 psi, right?
Yep.
Alright, so now we're going to go to the side that was leaking the oil on the spark plug. This one's a little bit more tricky to get the connection in there. I'm going to go ahead and say we're low on this side.
Where are we at?
Because it didn't move.
Woo! One more?
One more.
Yep. There it is. Tear apart.
Well guys, that's definitely a problem. One side is at 90 and holding. The other side has no pressure whatsoever. So we're going to tear into the right side first.
Alright, so cover on the top of the fan is off. The breather is off. The engine cover is off. And Brian is currently unhooking the exhaust.
Which is not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
So,
Right there works.
Or we could just do that.
is that pinchy?
Almost.
I'm real familiar with the top of that.
Muffler is now off.
So we're wanting to go in, take this off right now, right?
And then we're going to pull the valve cover. Then there's going to be bolts in there for you to pull the head off.
10. So he is.
Alright, so pulled the valve cover off, had a push rod fall out. Pretty much what a push rod does is there's a camshaft, it's going to be further down in your head. It's going to slide in here like this. And this should, your little rocker arm should sit on top of this pin and on top of this valve spring. And that's going to actuate the valve spring itself. You got one for intake and one for exhaust. This one here is your exhaust because your intake obviously goes from your carburetor. So it's the top one. And they open at opposite times. If they're opening at the same time or wrong times, your timing's gonna be off, your ignition's not gonna happen. And if your exhaust stays open, then your exhaust itself is gonna get real hot. So we gotta figure out why this happened, which we might figure out when we get a little deeper in there. And it could be what caused the entire problem.
Alright guys, so right now what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to get inside of here, see if we have an oil leak in there. So what we got to do is we got to take this bolt here out. There's one underneath there. There's another one back over here somewhere. I think there's what, 4 or 5 total. And we also have to take the intake manifold off so we can get back in there and look. So one thing that I've seen on other videos, that when you guys are taking these bolts out, you have to make sure, a lot of people label them, but you got to make sure they go in the exact same spot because there's different lengths, and I think they're torqued to a certain spec also. Alright, so where we're at right now guys is we are taking the battery and the little battery shelf, I don't know what you would call tray, off. so we can have some better access, because there's some bolts back in there that are really hard to get to. So we're going to take this off real quick so we can get those out. One thing we did, like I told you guys, these, you know, all these bolts in here, they have to be put back in the same spot. So Zach came up with this little idea. So basically what we're doing, here's the top, there's the bottom, and we're just poking holes and putting the bolts in the pattern that we take them off. That way we know how they go back on there. That was brilliant.
That's what I'm here for, guys.
So we got the intake off, and it's just kind of laying there. We should be all right with leaving it like that. See, I'm learning new stuff all the time. I'd have never thought of that. I'd have fought it and busted my knuckles. That was pretty clever.
Gotta think smarter, not harder.
Yep. Smarter, not harder. That's the theme for today. So, have you changed your prediction yet?
I don't know. I think we're gonna have a pretty, hopefully not too serious problem, but it'll probably be a little more serious than we thought, just because that rocker arm came out. So, or that push rod came out, and the rocker arm's all loose. So we'll see what happens.
I still say it's the piston rings.
Zach is still going with piston rings.
It's like I state.
If it is the piston rings, then we're gonna have to order them. It's probably gonna take a day or two at least. Not sure what I'm gonna do as far as mowing goes, because we really need this mower. I don't have any backup, and I can't just keep borrowing somebody's mower. They got stuff they got to mow too. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll figure it out. And alright, so we took the tray off, and you can see how much more room we have there to work with. Now everything is going to be a lot easier to deal with. So let's get a little close up of that valve in there. That is the rocker arm.
Yep. That's
Right?
not good.
Rocker arm
Was
valve
loose.
spring.
So the push rod came out.
Not good at all. Guys, so we got the battery tray off. We had to take the exhaust off. That was a little tricky. There was some bolts back here. There was one bolt back here on both sides that is really, really hard to get to. But Hunter got them off. So now we're just gonna. So what we got? We got two here. What else we got?
That should be it. We should be able to pull it straight off after that.
Okay. So there was one here. There was one down underneath here, and then there's two right here.
And there's one right here.
There's one up top. Let's see here. Yep, and there's one right here. So there's 5 total.
The big reveal.
The big reveal. Head gasket. It's blown there, it's blown there. In there.
Yep.
Those are near the.
One,
Really,
two.
you want to
3.
really pay attention right around the edge of your cylinder here, though.
These are bolt holes, so
Oh, really?
there's no pressure going through there.
Okay.
I mean, a little bit of oil inside your cylinder here. You can see it. It's real wet. Definitely got bad piston rings. Definitely. And that is what's causing all of this buildup. Got a whole lot of extra buildup we shouldn't have. Hardening on there, the carbon deposits everywhere. We'll clean all that up.
Alright guys, this is your cylinder. Hunter's turning the motor. See how it's going in and out? The piston is going in and out. Alright guys, so what we're doing right now is, in order to get the piston out, to look at the rings, which we're pretty sure it's the rings, but we're gonna have to take the piston out anyway to change them. We have to go down through the flywheel, right? Is that what that is?
Got the flywheel sitting on top here. It's pretty much what turns the motor. Whenever you turn the key, your starter kicks up, the teeth right here engage, and it turns the motor. And that's how you get your compression. Starter shafts drop back down. Just like that.
Just like that.
Like that right here. Yee.
So once we take that off, then we'll be able to see inside there, right?
That's the plan. There should be right here. We'll split the case open. Look down in there.
What are those called?
Coil packs.
Coil packs. Gotta take those coil packs off to get the flywheel off.
Boom.
So what's that?
Stator. It's
It's like the electrical.
like an alternator, kind of. That's what keeps the electric current going once you've got it started. That way you're not drawing off your battery the entire time. It's an electromagnet, if you will.
All right, so what do we gotta do now?
Bolts in there. We're going to have to take your stator off. This dust cover is going to have to come off. Once we have that off, we will split the case right here. It's got some bolts, and you can see if you look, there's a line right here. It's because the case is split. It should come straight up.
Show me that line again.
Right there.
So basically, we're just gonna lift the top half off.
Top half's going to come off. You'll be able to see right down in there. And in order to do that, we'll have to go ahead and take off the head on the other side and have it all pulled apart.
Maybe drain oil.
This is turning into a pretty big job. Basically, we are disassembling this whole engine, and to get the piston out so we can change the rings.
Beautified.
Yeah, this is gonna be crazy. It's definitely a learning experience, but I hope this is something I don't have to do again for a while.
But if you do, you'll know how.
And I can only imagine what a dealer would have charged me to do this. Yeah, I can only imagine. I think it would have been well over $1,000.
Easy.
Well over $1,000, and a new engine costs about $1,600. So I think if I had the choice, I probably would have. You know, if I couldn't have done it myself, I probably would have just bought a new engine, because
It's too small.
that's a lot easier to change than doing all this when I don't know how to do it. So if I didn't have these guys here, then probably would have taken it to the dealer. They would have told me, gave me a quote or whatever, and more than likely I probably just would have bought an engine, and then, you know, but it's the way it is. Also, could not find any piston rings in stock anywhere, so we had to order them. It's going to be a few days, so probably won't be using this mower at all this week. So I'm going to have to figure something out
You definitely won't be.
to get by. Can't mow everything with a walker.
Came to a point, we're gonna have to remove the engine off the mower. We are draining oil. That didn't work out so well. Got a big old puddle. Just going everywhere. Be pretty easy to clean up once we get the motor out of the mower though. There's a lot of room for activities. So, see what happens.
So in other words, we are taking the motor off the mower in order to split it and get the piston out of there. We have got a mess. This is going to be fun. We got the engine, we got the 4 bolts, 4 nuts taken off. These guys are going to pick it up,
Hopefully.
and put it on the bench.
Nope, not yet.
We are going to, there we go.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's
See
skating.
how far we can get. Hold on.
Is it the closet?
Yep, that's a nut.
Yeah, we gotta take it off. So.
Yep.
There's the motor.
About 12 cubic inches of badassery. The worst thing, but it should.
All right, so right now we're just taking the bolts out to separate the engine. So we can look inside there and...
We're gonna need that other piece of cardboard.
Well,
Yeah, it's laying right here.
So we can label these.
oh, we need to label the bolts. All right, so right now we got all the bolts out and it's time to separate. Here, you guys can see the ring right there where it's going to separate.
You don't have any there.
This here is your camshaft. As you see, it's got a gear on it. What this gear does is it rides in between this gear and then the gear here on your crankshaft. And that's how your motor stays in time. Well, make sure we keep a point to point that out on the reinstall.
So this right here is your cylinder, right?
That's your rod.
Rod?
This is your cylinder. The hole is your cylinder. This is your piston rod, connecting rod. Connects your piston to your crankshaft. Crankshaft turns. It's got counterweights right here. All kinds of stuff going on with that.
So how do we get that out?
We are going to pull these bolts. The piston's going to unseat from the crank, and then we'll be able to push the piston out of the end of the cylinder.
All right, those are 10s. So get a 10mm socket and ratchet.
So we're going to take,
Other one, the back one.
yeah, we're going to take these off right here. That's going to unhook it from,
The rod separates. It's got there's a rod cap.
yeah, this here is going to come off,
Yep.
and then we'll be able to push it out
Through the
the
cylinder.
cylinder.
Which one?
It's the back one.
Five pounds of torque.
Yeah, 5 foot-pounds right there. They probably put it in inch-pounds in the manual so that it sounds like a lot. We got 60 inch-pounds of torque holding this bad boy together.
It's whatever you want.
I'll call them tomorrow. They're closed now, but I'll call them tomorrow and see if we can still get it on the same shipment. Then
You
I'll
want to
order one.
rotate? I'm just going to make sure this bearing doesn't pop off. Which one are we do? Oh, the bottom one. So you're feeling for it.
Yeah, right there's where it is. Alrighty then. Did you get the bearing?
No, it didn't fall.
There is no one on there.
Let me see.
Keep push that.
Ow, hold on. Push back.
Get your finger stuck in there?
Yeah, I did.
Must be machined perfectly. No bearing.
Okay, put that back together so we can see how it was on there.
Goes together just
So
like that.
you guys see what we did? We took the bolts off here, which pulls this off, separates it, and then we just pull that out of the cylinder.
And here's your rings. See, you can kind of see the lip there.
How can you tell they're bad?
Well, there was oil in the cylinder.
So that's your number one.
You see?
They shouldn't have that much play.
Well, no, they're going to have a little bit of play because when you put it back together, you're going to have a ring compressor, and you'll set it right here, and it'll compress these rings down, and you'll feed this back in the opposite way.
I got you.
Because if you
So it
don't,
keeps them in there real
Yep.
nice and tight.
'cause if you don't have that compressor, you see, even
We
these,
won't be able to push it in there.
it'll just stop right there. It ain't going to go any further. So, there's your problem. They're real simple. Top. total. This one here is 3 parts. It's going to have 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Clean as a whistle. Gov.
So guys, there's the inside. There's your dipstick right here.
It's a little low.
It's a little low on oil right now, but we'll get it filled back up.
And if you'll look right here.
Mm-hmm.
These are your valves.
No, that's not.
That's what's gonna ride on the.
That's the guide.
It's the guide for the camshaft. And it rides on these. And that's how it knows when to open and close the intake and exhaust valves. Once it pushes on those.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where your push rods sit too. They're right on those lobes. Real simple stuff. You see how it's got all these fins in it everywhere? The reason for these fins like this
Yeah,
is because it doesn't have a radiator, so there's no coolant going through the engine. So it's air cooled. It dissipates the heat better.
Pretty nifty.
Made in the USA. Look at that son. Kawasaki.
So we have got a huge mess, but this is kind of interesting, kind of fun. Take a look at this mess we got down here. You know, we're going to get the new parts, and we will install them, and we'll make a part 2 of this video, putting everything back together. So yeah, that's what we did, what we're gonna do. And I wanted to show you guys this here. This is the case. These are all the bolts that came out of the case. And what we did, just like the other stuff we did, we put them in this cardboard in order they were on there. So that way we know which ones go where when we put them back. Okay, just like those.
This is fun for me.
So, what'd you say?
I said I love this. This is fun for me.
I think I'm just gonna man the garage from now on. You guys can go do all the mowing and just bring me the broken stuff.
Yeah.
Way easier.
Honestly, you know, that would be all right, but we have 2 mowers on our fleet. So fleet. So if they're not working, then we're not mowing anyway. So
we'll get them fixed.
anyway, guys, like I said, I'm learning this as we go along here. I know some of you guys are already way beyond this point, but this is something that, if nothing else, just kind of gives you guys a little look inside of an engine, and you know, I never knew what was inside it, you know, what it actually looked like. So it's just kind of interesting that way. You know, we kind of have a better idea of what we're looking at, what we're working with. So I appreciate you guys watching. Say bye.
Bye.
See ya.